Welcome back to the Wellness Effect. Remember, now is a good time to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. Jannus van der Walt is Bankmed's Senior Manager of Client Management, and today he's going to help us look at what benefits Bankmed members have concerning retirement. Welcome, Jannus.
Thanks, Seth. Happy to be here.
Good to have you. So, Jannus, I'm retiring soon. I know I look like I'm not, but maybe 32 years from today, I'm retiring soon. What benefits do I have on my medical aid?
Seth, your medical aid continues after retirement. It is not something that changes when it comes to the time when you do retire. It is a policy that continues as per usual. There are certain impacts to you as an individual when you do get to the point of retirement, and this is mostly due to funding, which is something you would need to sort out via your employer. But secondly, also you need to look at the funding model that you need in the sense of what medication, what chronic conditions, what medical interventions you might require post the age of 60 or 65, whatever age you will be retiring at. From a scheme perspective, medical schemes are operating in a very similar fashion. And this is where I'm referring to the open scheme market. Closed medical schemes offer things slightly different. So Bankmed is a closed medical scheme in the sense that you need to be in an organization that has a contract with Bankmed in the financial services sector or in the banking sector in order for you to belong to that relevant scheme. So closed medical schemes tend to, at time of retirement, tell you that you need to find a different medical aid because you're no longer employed, hence you cannot be a member of the scheme.
I see.
Bankmed, however, does things a bit different. You have the option to remain as a member of Bankmed post-retirement. But this is one of the key perspectives that you need to have a look at. You will need to let the scheme know that you want to continue post-retirement. Alternatively, it might come to the point where you do get taken off the medical aid and you might need to find something else. So that's a very important point at this relevant time.
And what sort of benefits do retirees get? And are there any discounts allocated to retirees when it comes to medical aid?
Seth, I think that's the number one question I get whenever we host a retiree session is, I'm retiring now, so do I qualify for a discount? The medical scheme is an organization or an area that gets regulated quite heavily. So the Medical Schemes Act 131 of 1998 governs all that happens within a medical scheme. And within this set rules, it does state that you cannot offer discounts irrelevant of the age of that individual. The only discounts you can apply is if there is an income band or income bands on a relevant plan, whereby you can define your income, and then depending on your income, you might have a discount there. So one of the biggest areas where pensioners or retirees can possibly save is at point of retirement, assess what their income is post-retirement and see where it possibly falls in with those income bands and possibly have a reduction in premium post-retirement, with the new set of income you have. Benefit-wise, your benefits remain the same. There are, however, certain set of wellness benefits that we offer through our wellness department, which qualifies specifically for our retiree segment. So this would be tests directed at your 60 plus. So this would be things like your pneumococcal vaccine, as well as your herpes vaccine for individuals over the age of 60. And these are unlocked specifically at the age of 60. So you need to constantly engage with your medical scheme to see what benefits have age linked to it, and then when you need to opt for those specific benefits. For Bankmed, it is extremely important that members know what happens in their medical scheme.
Yes.
We do communicate on a regular basis, and individuals tend to ignore communication from a scheme unless it is something that they need to look at that relevant point in time. But through communication, we try and educate our members, what they need to look out for at certain stages of their life. And we do have special communication going out to our retiree community at certain stages. I know our employer groups also do special communication to their active members when they are still employed to look out for certain things by the time they get closer to retirement. So certain benefits do unlock, but we do urge our individuals to have a look at the benefit design and see at what age certain benefits unlock.
So how should retirees and pensioners approach their plans as they get closer, to retirement?
Very good question. So there's two answers to that relevant question. So first of all, the financial impact.
Yes.
Obviously, by the time you retire, most individuals will have a lesser income than what they had by the time they were still employed.
Correct.
So we need to balance the benefit required versus the option they are on at the point of retirement. To first of all just determine, do I need to be on such a high plan, yes or no? If there is a bit of room for downgrading to a lower plan to ease up some funds, then by all means, it's something that the individuals need to exercise. But if there is a special need, and this
Yes.
is where it comes to the medical need side of things, if you do have a special need around certain medication or chronic conditions or medical intervention that might be required, it is something that you would need to have a look at. For that particular point, I know Bankmed has specific plan selection tools on our website that we have available to our members, where you can go in, put in all the relevant conditions you have, the medical needs you have, the budget, your income, all of those relevant items. And then it will kick out certain answers and give you some suggestions at what plan might best suit your medical needs. Alternatively, we do also have a step further where on that plan selection tool, you can engage with NMG, our FACE accredited partner, who would be able to give financial advice in the sense of which plans might best suit that individual at that point in time. It is extremely important for individuals to understand their medical needs. And I think that is one of the most important parts, because you need to understand what do you need and how much you can afford. Quite often, I find that individuals have a look at their medical needs and purely compare that to what the plans offer and then make a plan selection. But they do not take that necessary step forward to determine those needs that they have, at what cost does it come?
Correct.
So a simple suggestion would be, someone might have a specific chronic condition that is not listed as a prescribed minimum benefit. Now, these are a set of conditions that's covered on all medical aids, on all plans. But it might be a condition that is covered on the additional disease list. So that medication might come at a cost of 300 or 400 Rand a month. But for that individual to upgrade to a higher plan, the increase in premium might be 1,500 Rand.
I see.
So this is where the balance needs to come through, is what benefit are you going to unlock if you go to the higher plan? And is it worthwhile rather funding some things out of the pocket instead of going to a higher plan and getting that balance in place? And that is a very key, important, part that needs to be considered.
Yeah. And once I've kind of played around with the tool that you've mentioned, I've kind of put in my age, the conditions I might have, and I've chosen the plan, am I locked into that plan, or can I change the plan based on my medical needs?
Very good question once again. So plan selection is done on an annual basis. So during the end of the year, around October, November, individuals have the option to make a plan selection for the following year based on the medical changes and the premium increases and all the information that the scheme launched during that period. That plan needs to stay in place for that following year. Each year around October, November, individuals will have an option to make a plan change. And this is very important. This means you are not locked into your plan upon retirement for the rest of your life, or as long as you stay within that medical scheme. You have the power to exercise a plan change at the end of every year based on the medical needs and how your things change.
Amazing.
I think even at your young age, things change from year to year.
Absolutely.
And you have new diseases developing, or a new ache, or you find out your knee is squeaking that it didn't do the year before. And you need to cater for that. And this is where the plan selection on an annual basis becomes pivotal in us understanding what medical needs we have and what plan we need to be on to cater for that.
And what about dreaded diseases and illnesses such as cancer or chronic conditions?
Cancer is unfortunately a very important one. And this is something that's going to reach most amount of people in their life at some stage. If it's not with them, it might be with a family member or a close friend. So certain conditions like cancer classify as a PMB. And this means that because it is a prescribed minimum benefit, all plans need to give some form of benefit for that chronic condition. So if I just take a step back and compare something simple like appendicitis, just to give you an example. Appendicitis, meaning an inflamed appendix, is not a prescribed minimum benefit. You have time to book an operation, find a specialist who will do the surgery, and go do the necessary. But if you have a ruptured appendix, that is life-threatening. That becomes a prescribed minimum benefit, because if you don't get treatment, you could pass away from that.
Correct.
So the same goes with oncology. Cancer-related treatment has a whole list of various treatments, access to medication, certain treatment protocols, and many of them fall within your PMB level of care, meaning it is covered, throughout every plan, throughout medical scheme. But some specific medications, like, for example, Herceptin for breast cancer,
Yes.
is not considered as part of that level of care. So for those type of higher level of care, you need a higher plan. So that is why, if there is a prevalence of cancer in the family or a close relative, one needs to consider possibly going up to a slightly higher plan to cater for that medical need in the event that it does show itself at some stage.
Thanks. I think you've prescribed pathways that retirees could take. Now, what if pensioners, retirees, I know sometimes my grandmother struggles with technology. How do they manage screenings, and how can schemes, communicate with members more effectively, such that retirees and pensioners are up to date and can utilize all the benefits available?
Technology is unavoidable. I think we live in a time where we understand technology is key, and more organizations are leveraging off it to give access to healthcare. I think one of the easiest examples we have within Bankmed is our home nursing, is our home screening, just as a simple benefit, whereby we cater for individuals that can't go out to a doctor or a pharmacy to have these screenings done, where you can book an appointment with an individual and they will come to your house and do the screening in the comfort of your own home, just to give you an example.
Amazing.
Where it comes to certain other benefits, like one of the new benefits, Epilock, that we launched for 2025, we have certain platforms in place and certain processes in place to try and assist our members in managing these. Sometimes it is a bit difficult because our older population tend to battle with technology because they didn't grow up with it. We do need to take a step back to understand that the retiree segment within a medical scheme makes up a very small portion of the overall scheme numbers. Within Bankmed, our retiree segment makes up 9% of the population,
Wow.
meaning 91% of our population is still active, young, employed individuals who grew up with technology, who understand all of this, and do benefit from the interventions around technology.
Correct.
So what I do suggest to our individuals who are technologically challenged is to engage with our call center, to engage with Bankmed when we host events. We host wellness events around March of every year where we go out to our retirees and we talk to them about wellness-related matters, bring the people through to do screening for them and assist them with all of these things. We have a year-end sessions around October, November, same scenario where we do engage with them and we try and assist them as far as possible. Make friends with your neighbor, make friends with younger individuals, use your children, family members to assist you with that. So technology is unfortunately unavoidable, but we do see the benefit of unlocking this and putting this through to our membership and actually just providing that wider access to healthcare, which is aimed through technology, as we go into the future.
Yeah, you've mentioned a critical component of this human connection. As technology rapidly develops, we're losing more of this human interaction. So I'm glad to hear that, the human connection is still central to your business purpose.
And I think we need to acknowledge that technology is taking over everywhere. And one of the things that I picked up where technology tends to cause a bit of questions within our retiree segment, and not only just with the retirees, but for all of our members, is the fact that claims processing, as an example,
Yes.
is done through machines. It's done through automatic reading. It's through character recognition. There's no human intervention when it comes to that. And that's why reading your member statement becomes pivotal. We do communicate to our members as minimal as possible, but we do communicate all the important things. So when you do get your statement, have a look at the claims that you submitted. Was it paid from the correct benefit? And if we do pick up there is an error, report it to the scheme so we can intervene and correct those as we go along. The only way we, as a scheme, tend to find out if something was processed incorrectly is if you notify us. And that is why, engaging with your member statement, engaging with the scheme is quite important from our perspective.
Jannus, thank you for such an insightful discussion. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm like maybe 32 years ahead of schedule. But I think for our viewers who are watching, who are at the age of retirement, or our pensioners are needing this information, it was quite valuable. So thank you.
Thanks, Faith. Appreciate the time.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Bankmed, the medical scheme of choice for the financial services industry. The Wellness Effect is proudly brought to you by Bankmed, yours in good health.